We ask that his memory be a blessing. We continue to have various incidents of random gun violence around our community. And while we can certainly continue to point fingers and assign blame for a national trend that we are witnessing here locally, it comes down again to the same elements. A gun, secondly, a gun in the hands of someone who should not have it, and then three, a horrible, tragic, and sometimes deadly decision. And as we have seen on numerous occasions, even when police were in the immediate vicinity, within earshot, within visual contact of the incident, more police do not solve the problem. We need stronger gun laws and tougher prosecution and imprisonment for those who choose to engage in gun violence. I certainly recognize the city of Savannah is a part of the system. However, we are the entry point. The Savannah Police Department, I think, is doing an admirable job investigating and making their arrest. But then they go on to a prosecutorial and a court system and a correction system. And so we have to tighten those things up. I'm in favor of doing all we can in this, but we all remain in this together. And you get tired of this week after week. And although we're reminded that there are so many cities that have it way worse, for us, this hits home. And so if we're willing and want to do differently, we have to be willing to do differently. And as I said before, we cannot allow guns to be everywhere and then be mad when guns show up everywhere. And so I'm calling again on our local legislation to lead the way, local delegation to lead the way in Atlanta, to push for stronger laws. Again, not infringing on those who legally have them, but making sure police can adequately and appropriately and aggressively investigate those who should not have them. And a reminder to residents around our city that they also play a role in this. And the role they play is to lock their cars, secure their weapons. Many of the weapons that are appearing in some of these scenes are stolen weapons, taken from the homes of people who sometimes carelessly leave them where people can find them. Do not leave guns in your glove compartment. Do not leave guns in your console. Don't leave guns underneath your seat. And oftentimes when young people are breaking into homes, they're not looking for TVs anymore, they're looking for guns. So again, do all you can to make sure you secure them. I also want to send out a special and thank you and shout out to President Kimberly Ballard Washington and Savannah State University homecoming celebration this weekend. Savannah State wanted to modify their homecoming festivities in the interest of public safety and student health, so they held their homecoming parade on Friday on campus, and they held their game with limited attendance and limited tailgating activities. And so I had the opportunity to be present at these activities, and I think they did a great job, and I applaud them for proactively planning and working to protect their students and limit community spread of COVID-19. And we look forward to a larger celebration next year. Chatham County's COVID-19 metrics continue to trend down. Our community transmission index has dropped by 202 cases per 100,000 since October the 1st. We are still sitting at 231 cases per 100,000, which is still considered high community spread, although we continue to see fewer and fewer cases. Our 7-day rolling average of new cases is below 40 for the first time since July, and our percentage of positive tests dropped 2.3% from October the 1st to October the 8th. So that means we're doing better, but it means we're not there yet as well. 51% of Chatham County residents are now fully vaccinated, and 56% have had at least one dose. Again, slowly getting better, but we're not there yet. After meeting with my medical advisory team last week and the city manager, I announced new COVID-19 guidelines for events beginning November the 1st. Large outdoor events within the city limits will be allowed without capacity limits. Public events inside city facilities will be permitted at 60% capacity, and masks are still required in city-owned buildings. We are also looking forward to welcoming the Savannah City Council back in person by the first meeting in November. And so Mr. Melder and the Team Savannah are working ways to prepare for our return, details to come about where, but I think we are ready to be back in person really for the first time for council business since March of 2020. And it's probably, we have to check, probably the longest in history, in our history, that a council has not met in chambers. The 2021 Savannah Rock and Roll Marathon will continue as planned on November the 6th and November the 7th, with additional COVID precautions to limit interaction among runners. These precautions require that all runners provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test within 72 hours of their race. And so we trust that Ironman will do what they said they're going to do, and we will verify that they're doing what they said they're going to do. After that, our community will have to have a courageous conversation about the Rock and Roll Marathon. It's been several years now, and to see if it's still meeting our needs, both in terms of community and both financially. So we will have those conversations soon after. And as people are making plans for Halloween, please keep in mind that the Savannah Police Department Chief Mentor recommending trick-or-treating on Saturday, October the 30th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we received a lot of calls about Halloween. Everybody's asking about Halloween. Folks, remember, this is only a recommendation. Don't beat up Chief Mentor because they're recommending trick-or-treating on October the 30th from 5 to 8. We get it. This is not about trick-or-treating. It's about the Georgia-Florida game. We know that. And so if you don't want to do it on October the 30th, fine. Then do it on the 31st. And again, for me, I think I'm going to do it both days. The city is prepared to assist, and so we'll be doing ours on the 30th. We will give candy to trick-or-treaters in a safe way from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on October the 30th at the Grant, W.W. Law, Tompkins, Eastside, and Windsor Forest Community Centers. So at halftime, you can come and get some candy. Savannah Police Department is also hosting several Halloween events throughout the city that will be open to the community. On Friday, October the 29th, the Northwest Precinct will host a trick-or-treat event, including fun games and candy at their location, 602 East Lathrop Avenue from 6 to 8 p.m. I've heard you can go and dunk the chief, so I'll be looking forward to that opportunity. Eastside Precinct will be partnering with multiple community organizations for a trunk or treat event between 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday at Daffin Park. Central Precinct officers will come to a neighborhood near you as they drive the big SPD mobile command bus to give out candy and special SPD swag on Saturday, October the 30th during trick-or-treat hours. And October 31st, Southside Precinct officers will visit Halloween events at Trimble Park from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. and Kensington Park to pass out candy. Community members are encouraged to wear a mask at each event as SPD adheres to COVID-19 recommendations. Savannah Police Chaplain Charles Roberson, the pastor of Kingdom Life Christian Fellowship, is hosting a fall festival and COVID vaccine clinic on October the 31st from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 425 West Montgomery Crossroads. And this fall festival will include games, giveaways, including iPads, computers, and bicycles for youth, entertainment, and vaccinations provided by J.C. Lewis Primary Health Care. The Savannah Police Mounted Patrol and Recruiting Unit will also be in place, so you can come and see our four-legged officers. And for more information, you can call the church office at 912-921-5346, 912-921-5346. Last week, I was excited to join City Manager Jay Melder, Chief Mentor, and our police department as we announced the return of the Police Athletic and Activities League, commonly known as PAL. And so the department is accepting applications for PAL basketball, which starts practices in early 2022. And they're also looking for volunteer coaches. So for people who want to help, this is your opportunity to help. And you can find applications and additional information on the Savannah Police Department's website, savannahpd.org in the outreach section. Applications are also available at the Tompkins Center, the W.W. Law Community Center, the West Broad Street YMCA, the John S. Delaware Center, the Windsor Forest Community Center, the Park, and the Grant Center. In council business last week, we awarded a $2.8 million construction contract to rebuild the Hudson Hill Community Center. And I'm excited about that project, obviously, as I shepherded that project as the first district alderman. The building shifted and the building had to be demolished for safety concerns. We were able to secure insurance funds and general funds from 2018 to replace it. So this will be 5-6 times more in terms of price and 1,000 feet larger. So it will be better and new, improved. And again, we expect to start construction this month and finish in the next 10 months. So I'm excited about that. It's been 3 long years. We also got an update on the fairground property from Mr. Melder, who hopes to have a recommendation for council to consider at our next meeting. We also adopted the Housing Savannah Action Plan by a 6-3 vote. Again, affordable housing is an important part of our community as we look at poverty eradication and economic self-sufficiency. And we recognize that enough people in our community don't have places in which to live. We recognize that housing must be available, affordable, and accessible. It has to be all of those things at the same time. And so Savannah has never had a housing action plan to move us in the direction of where we need to be. And so I'm grateful for the 6 council members who voted to support that. Again, I just think that this gets us to where we need to be. Every single day we delay means that there are people who don't have opportunities to have a roof over their head, have an affordable roof over their head, have an accessible roof over their head, have a quality roof over their head. So I'm happy and appreciative for that. And the council also approved the city's 2040 comprehensive plan, also by a 6-3 vote. Again, recognizing that this plan is necessary for federal opportunities, also funding opportunities, and are also required for some of the things that we want to do in terms of legislation. So again, grateful for that. And I appreciate the work of the Housing Savannah Task Force, particularly that of retired city manager, assistant city manager Israel Small, and the United Way Executive Director Brent Grant, and the 39 individuals who gave of their time and their talent and their effort during a pandemic to deliver this plan, our first ever. And certainly to Ms. Melanie Wilson and to the good folks at the MPC for making sure that our community was engaged throughout this process. We were also very happy to announce that, as we knew, that the Savannah Fire Department earned the re-accredited agency status with the Commission on Fire Accreditation International for meeting the established criteria through the CFAI's voluntary self-assessment and accreditation program. Now get this, Savannah Fire is one of 112 departments in the entire nation, 112. There are 500 cities in Georgia. We're one of 112 in the nation with both ISO Class 1 status and CFAI International accreditation. About 250 agencies have achieved international accredited agency status with the CFAI and the Center for Public Safety Excellence. And so as a ISO Class 1 accredited fire department with a CFAI endorsement, the top 0.004% of the nation's 29,705 fire departments. And I'm going to say that again. Of the 29,705 fire departments in our country, the Savannah Fire Department is in the top 0.004%. So for us, that's something to brag on. And for our residents, when we're talking about fire service, we're talking about our residents receiving the absolute best. Yes, it is expensive. It's expensive to have these accreditations because they require work and it requires investment on our part. And we could actually go the cheaper route. But for us, we prefer quality at all times. And so our residents, who we feel are the best, deserve the best fire service, and they have that. So congratulations to Chief Derek Menard and the men and women of Savannah Fire. We call them Savannah's bravest, and we are so proud of them. We also approved an honorary street designation in honor of John Alliston White Sr., Savannah's first black police officer and the first black law enforcement officer in the state of Georgia. Lieutenant White served the city for 37 and a half years and is the last remaining survivor of the original 9 black police officers who integrated the Savannah Police Department in 1947. Lieutenant White, that many may not know, was one of the first black Marine Corps corpsmen in the nation. They were known as Montford Point Marines. And so he's made history there as well. The commemorative Lieutenant John White between Wheaton Street and Reed Court. And so we are looking forward to celebrating that day with him. Mayor Pro Tem and 5th District Alderwoman Estella Shabazz and Chatham County Commissioner Tanya Milton will hold listening sessions focused on transportation improvement projects on Thursday, October the 21st. And these listening sessions will be from 4:30 to 5:30 and 6:15 to 7:15 at the Liberty City Community Center, 1401 Millsby Lane Boulevard. And topics will include street paving and traffic flow improvements, sidewalk connections, additions, and other improvements, intersection and safety enhancements, bike path and trail redevelopment, and regional transportation challenges. Finally, I will hold my 2021 State of the City address virtually on Wednesday, October the 27th at 7 p.m. The public can view the live address on the City of Savannah's Facebook page, YouTube, and of course the award-winning SGTV Channel 8. So that's all for me, and I will entertain any questions you may have.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. So as far as the shootings, you mentioned that you want to push for stronger laws and getting the people who are acting on these crimes off the streets and, other things that you think could help with these shootings. But what are you all as a city doing to step in and intervene?
What is the city doing?
Yes.
We're out there every single day. We're going hard in the paint as hard as we can. In the end, again, the shooting at the Jennifer Ross complex, there were officers there. And that's the point. When people say, well, you're not with a gun. When I was growing up, Russ is, again, making sure that we keep drawing attention to it. Much to the chagrin probably of city staff, I'm at these scenes. I try to go to every single one of them because it's important that this is not business as usual. It's important that people see at least that my office, that I'm personally engaged and involved. I'm in the moment. And so I think we're doing that. Obviously, we're engaged in POW. Our officers have great detective work. We have one of the highest clearance rates in the state, maybe in the nation. We're over 80%. If you do a crime here, we're probably going to catch you. But that doesn't stop the fact that it's happened. So, obviously, I think that we could do some more in terms of technology. And so the city manager will hopefully be bringing us a budget to help us really make better use of cameras and artificial intelligence and those things that are a little bit more predictive in nature. We have to spread that out across the community. But we know the best intelligence